Students, this is the flag review video for units 1 and 2. I'm going to partially go over the problems with the flag video. Step number 1, let's take a look here at number 2. It says you're going to circle the outer term. So circle the outer term and distribute, multiply, and simplify. So taking a look here at the outer term, you want to start by circling it. So we're going to circle the negative root 15 and draw your little distributive arrows. Now we're going to write what this is. This is going to be negative 1 root 15 times 2 minus negative 1 root 15 times 5 root 6. So you can see how we take that negative and multiply. Now we're going to multiply and simplify. So we come here, we're going to multiply outies to outies, outies to outies, innies to innies. So right here, that's negative 1 times 2. That's going to be negative 2 root 15. This double negative makes a positive. So that's 1 times 5, so that's positive 5, square root of 5 times 6. Now you look to see if you can pull anything out. This is negative 2 square root of 3 times 5 plus 5 square root of 5 times 2 times 3. If you look carefully, there's no dates whatsoever in there. So it stays negative 2 square root of 15 plus 5 square root of 30, and you are done. Okay, we're going to be graphing this. 5x minus 4y equals 12. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can change it to so we want to get y by itself. So we write 5x minus 4y equals 12. Our goal is to get y all by itself. My storyline I taught you, that's a party, 4's the date, 5x is another date, and 12 is a stag. Your goal is to get y by itself. So the first thing that's going to leave is the other date. So we're going to minus 5x both sides. We end up with negative 4y equals negative 5x plus 12. Now the date's going to leave, and she's upset with y, so she's going to come over here and gossip to everybody. Double negative makes a positive. So now we graph. Our b is negative 3, so we start at negative 3. Our slope is 5 over 4, and it's positive, so it's going to go up like that. So up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Another way you could have done would have been what's called intercepts. So for example, you can go 0, comma, blank, blank, comma, 0. And the way we do that is if we want to, we put a 0 in the x and come up here and imagine that's gone. So I have negative 4y equals 12. And we divide by negative 4. And here you see that y would equal -3, so there's one intercept. And then another way you could look at it is if we put a 0 in the x, excuse me, 0 in the y, we go like this, and we would divide both sides by 5, and we change that into a fraction. 5 goes in there twice with 2 left over, so that's going to be 2 2/5. Let's graph both those points and see what happens. 0, -3, there's your one intercept. Now 2 2/5, a little under a half. So here's 2 2/5 and 0 right there, and lo and behold, we nailed it. There's our intercept. So you could use intercepts there. Okay, same idea here. Our goal is to get y by itself. So you take one item at a time. Here, we're going to take over the 12, and that's positive 12, so we're going to minus 12. So I'm going to bring this over here. We have -12 equals 24x minus 3y. Again, the goal is to get y by itself. And next, the other double date's going to leave. So minus 24x minus 24x. We end up with -24x minus 12 equals -3y. You divide by -3. Double negative makes a positive, so I end up with 8x plus 4 equals y. Now you're used to seeing it flipped around, so I'm just going to flip it around. That's y equals 8 over 1x plus 4. You can go ahead and graph that yourself. We're going to write the slope-intercept equation of a line. So here, slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b. So you have to find the b, and you have to find the slope. So we go over here, y equals mx plus b. Well, we got a bit of a problem here, because step number 1, nothing crosses the y-axis, so there's no b. B is missing. Okay, and we take a look at our slope. Our slope here of this line is completely vertical. That means technically there's no slope. So you need to figure out, this is either an x equals something line or a y equals something line. So that's what your choice is. When you have a straight vertical or horizontal line, it's going to be one of those two. The easiest way to do this is just to find a bunch of points on the line. So let's start with the simplest. That dot right there is -1, 0. This dot right here is -1, 2. This dot here is -1, 4. This dot down here is -1, -2. Take a look at what we have going on here. This line, all the x's are the same, so the name of this line is x equals -1. Says write the slope-intercept form of the equation through the given point and a given slope. So slope-intercept means y equals mx plus b. Let's look at what we have. Y equals mx plus b. We need two things. We need a slope, and we need an intercept. Now, we have been given a slope. Draw a line right here, draw an arrow right there. We have the slope already. Let's write that down, 3/2. Problem is we don't have the intercept, that's B. But let's look at what we do have. We do have an X, that's going to be -4. And we do have a Y, that's going to be -5. Now we're going to solve for B. This is -5. This is 3 times -4. That's going to be -12/2 plus B. We're going to keep going. This is -5. 2 goes into 12. That's -6 plus B. We want to solve. So we're going to add 6 both sides. We get +1 equals B. Now, remember, we're trying to get y equals mx plus b. Now we have y equals our slope we already have, 3/2, x plus, we just solved right here, 1. So there's your answer. So I would take a moment, and if you're really smart, you can put 3 little dots here. What were the 3 steps figuring this out? If you're really on top of it and you really want to remember that, take a moment and ask yourself, what are the 3 steps to doing this? Pause the video. Okay, number 16. It says, find the length indicated. Well, careful there. Remember, in general, I recommend you find everything. So I'm just going to write find all, and then you narrow down what you need. Ultimately, we want Q to S. But always ask yourself, what can you find? Rather than focusing on the red, let's see what's really super easy to find here. Super easy to find. If you trace and color code this, this makes it so much easier. Watch. R2S is 1. And we know R all the way to here is 10. Take a moment and try to find what you can easily find. Find that orange there. You should see that that's going to be 10 minus 1, so that's 9. Let's see what else we can find. The whole thing is 14. And if we take away 10, we can get what we're trying to find, which is 4. Now we have all the pieces. So always get in the habit of finding what you can find, and then you're more likely to stumble across the answer than you are to actually find it. But you're not done yet, because it wants Q to S. Careful there. So we got the 4. Ready? Let's bracket Q to S. And you see Q to S is going to be, that's 4. And that's 1. So Q to S is actually going to be 5 units. Okay, 18. Our ultimate goal is to find the length of F to E. Now remember, it's not just X. So here, ask yourself what you know is true. We know, I'm going to color code this, that pink segment plus that blue segment plus the green segment equals the whole thing. Now I'm going to make a thing equation. It's important you get in the habit of making a thing equation beforehand. So here our thing equation, F to E, the pink segment. If you can color code this, it's good. Plus E to D, that would be the blue segment. Plus D to C, that would be the green segment. Equals the red, which is the whole thing, which is F, all the way to C. That's your thing equation. Learn to do a thing first equation. Now, circle plug check. FE is X plus 12. E to D is 3. D to C is X plus 14. That equals F to C, which is X plus 23. Now, obviously, you need to solve for X. Don't get all happy, though. You're not done, because once you have X, you actually need to find the length that's being requested. Finish that on your own. Okay, these are super easy if you color code them and just trace and sweep very carefully. Okay, we want to find JKL. So I'm going to trace and sweep JKL. JLK. JLK, trace and sweep, that's our question mark. I'm going to switch colors. We are given that MLK, so there's M, there's L, there's K. That means the big angles I'm going to trace and sweep on the outside here is 28x minus 6. And JLK, we are told that JLK is going to be this equation right here, 23x plus 2. And finally, MLJ is 22. All right. Now, it's always good to do a thing first equation. And in this case, we have our big blue angle is made up of our purple angle plus this angle right here, which is the green. So if you color code these, it makes it a lot easier to understand because you think in colors faster than you think in numbers. Now, we circle plug chug. Our purple circle is 22 plus this green angle, which is what we're trying to find, is 23x plus 2 equals our big blue angle, which is 28x minus 6. From here, you have to obviously solve for x and then actually plug it in for what you're trying to find. Okay, 22, we're back to parallel lines. So let me recap what you guys know. Make 4 sets of baby parallel lines here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to lay a stir stick down all of them. Stir stick, stir stick, stir stick, stir stick. Okay, so when lines are parallel, watch these. Ready? These guys are alt-in. So alternate interior angles, that's angle equals angle. You should remember these. That's the armpits of the Z. Alternate exterior would be like this. Alternate X. That's also angle equals angle. Then you have corresponding. One's in, one's out, same side. That's also angle equals angle. Last one are same side interior. That's the orange, same side of the stir stick between the lines. So I'm going to write same side interior. These guys are the only ones that aren't equal. They, angle plus angle, add up to 180. You need to have that memorized. So let's take a look here. Here's our stir stick. Let's sweep these. Now take a moment and put a check mark by the one that this matches up to. You should have recognized that this particular one is same side interior. So this one's going to be angle plus angle equals 180. Right, that's your template. So we write, we're going to have 19x plus 4 plus 25x equals 180. You collect like terms, solve for x, and once you solve for x, plug it in, find all possible angles. This is find the other endpoint given an endpoint and a midpoint. So a good way to do these is do a quick sketch. And our one endpoint is 8, -5. So positive 8. Go towards the end, think of this as 10. Positive 8 and -5 is about right there. Positive 8, -5. This is an end point. So I'm just going to write the word end. Then we have a midpoint here that's at -2, -6. So -2, -6, it's slightly down. And that's a midpoint. I'm going to write the word mid. Now we want the other endpoint. So visually it looks like this. That's an endpoint, that's a midpoint. So we're going to have another endpoint somewhere over here. So I'm going to put a coordinate here. And we're going to find a coordinate for x and a coordinate for y. Several ways you can do this, but I'm going to do this just using logic. Let's solve for that x first. Ready? I'd like you to put a bracket from 8 to -2 and ask yourself, what's the distance in units? Think of a number line. If you were to start at 8 on a number line, and you were to go down to -2, remember you're going to pass 0 there. So I know the distance here is going to be 10 units. And I'm going down the number line. So here, I want to find what that x coordinate is. I have to go 10 units down as well. So if I start at -2 and I bunny hop 10 units down this way, -2, 10 units down, I'm going to be at -12. Now for y, put a bracket here and ask yourself how many units between -5 and -6, and there's only 1 unit. Notice I'm going down the number line. So I need to go 1 unit down farther from -6. It's going to be -7. So my coordinate here is going to be -12, -7. Now ask yourself visually, does that make sense? If we were to go 12 units this way and down 7, it's going to be slightly down, and yes, that makes sense. Okay, it says find the distance. Most important thing for you to do with distance is you make a template. And that's distance equals, and your template looks like this. Always get in the habit of making a template. Now let's get your coordinates. So this coordinate is +1, -3, and this coordinate here is +5, +5. Now, you put this here. There's your template. Now, it doesn't matter whether you go 1 - 5 or 5 - 1. What does matter is consistently. So I'm going to go top down. Notice the arrow. So I'm going to go 5 - 1. Again, top down. 5 - -3. You solve and simplify. For this one, we're going to find slope. And remember, basic definition of slope is the rise over the run. So we find 2 points of intersection. There's one. Count your rise. You count your run. Bunny hop it. So, and this is going downward from left to right. So that is going to be a negative slope. You go ahead and finish that up, reduce as necessary. Okay, it says, write the slope-intercept form of the line described. Then graph both the given line and the described line. So slope-intercept form, that's going to be y equals mx plus b. That's our ultimate goal. And then we want to graph both lines. Notice it says graph both lines. So step number 1, I'm going to graph this given line. So technically there's a 0 here. So starting at 0, we know it's going to go down from left to right. Why do I know that? Because that's negative. So I'm going to go rise 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to run 3, but I'm going to the left. 1, 2, 3. So this is my first line right here. This is my given line. This is y equals negative 4 over 3x plus 0. Now our other line, we want it to be perpendicular. This one we want to be parallel. So let's summarize what you know about slope and perpendicular and parallel lines. For perpendicular, we know that slope times slope must equal negative 1. And for parallel, we know that slope must equal slope. This you have memorized. Ready? Okay, so step 1 is, let's write our equation out. Y equals mx plus b. Our given slope is negative 4 over 3. So we ask ourselves, negative 4 over 3 times what equals negative 1? You should recognize that it's the opposite reciprocal. So we're going to go 3 over 4 here. We don't have the b, that's our unknown. We do, however, have a value of x. Circle, circle, draw an arrow. And that's going to be times 4. And we also have a value of y. Circle y, circle 3. That's a 3. I'll wait for you to catch up. So now we're going to solve. This is 3. This is 3 times 4. That's 12 over 4 plus b. We clean this up a bit, and we're going to end up with 3 equals 4 goes in there 3 times plus b. And we're going to minus 3, and we get b equals 0. So our perpendicular equation is going to be y equals 3 over 4 x plus 0. Let's graph that and see what happens. So we start at 0. It's going to be positive, so we're going to go up 3, 1, 1, 2, 3 over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or I could go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 4 this way, 1, 2, 3, 4. We graph our line there. This is our perpendicular line. Okay, let's see if we've sufficed both our qualities. 1, do they look perpendicular? And the answer is yes, they look perpendicular. That's a good start. Second, we wanted to go through this point, 4, 3. So let's go over 4, up 3. There it is right there. And we got it. It's both perpendicular and goes through 4, 3. And it's perpendicular through this given line.